Alton Towers is the largest theme park in the UK, featuring a wide variety of different rides, set within over 500 acres of beautiful Staffordshire countryside. It really is one of the most beautiful locations for a theme park anywhere in the world, and that is what's made Alton Towers so famous over the years. The fact that you walk into the park, you're greeted by the beautiful Towers ruins at the bottom, and you just can't see any of the other rides. It's the location, it's how mysterious it is that has made Alton Towers so famous over the years. The fact they can't build above the tree line, everything has to be hidden away, but also they've brought some world first rides to the park over the years and some record holders as well, and that's what's made Alton Towers so famous and a very special park to very many people that have travelled all around the world to come and visit it. Now of course there's lots of different rides, from roller coasters, dark rides and other attractions, but in this video I'm going to count down the 10 rides that I think are the best at the Alton Towers resorts. Now of course these are my thoughts, but I would love to know yours too down below in the video comments. So comment down below with your top 10 favourite rides, and yeah, I'd be really interested to see yours and how it compares with mine just here. But here we go, let's go straight in. Within 10th place, it is Hex, the Legend of the Towers. Now for me, this ride really captures the energy and spirit of Alton Towers and also the history as well. It's a Vekoma madhouse that opened in the year 2000, but it's so much more than just a ride. Hex is a full experience. As soon as you walk up to the entrance, you head into the actual towers themselves, go through the queue line, which is beautifully themed, into the cinema room where it explains the storyline of the chained oak and an actual local legend, something that many people still think Alton Towers actually made up, but no, it is based on a local legend. The chained oak does exist, it's just down the road from Alton Towers. Yes, Alton Towers added more to the storyline for Hex, especially when they say about the branch was dragged back from the woods to the towers and sealed in a secret vault. That was all done just for the storyline of the ride and going into the vault itself. However, it is a local legend. I actually heard of it way before the ride opened in year 2000 and grew up with that local legend as well. So that's what a lot of people don't realise. It's a historical ride, and then of course you get onto the ride system itself and it is just beautiful. It's one of the best themed madhouses out there, tilting you side to side as the room spins round to give you the illusion that you're fully going upside down. It's got an amazing soundtrack as well. Of course the lighting in there used to be a bit more atmospheric than it is now. I'd say it might have been a bit higher up my list how it was prior to a recent refurbishment, but still I'm glad that it's still operating over 25 years later. Hex, the Legend of the Towers, a solid 10th place spot from me. In 9th place, Choo Choo. It's the Runaway Mine Train. This is Mack Ride's powered coaster that opened in 1992. Now, this ride is just so much fun, and also it's beautifully themed. It's located in Katanga Canyon. As soon as you walk up into this African settlement, you've just got this structure just at the back there, which is the Runaway Mine Train. And as soon as you head onto the ride, it's just so much fun. Great theming around, interaction with the nearby Congo River Rapids as well. And also the fact the operators on there really do the choo-choos and really get into it, really does make it. But the ride is actually surprisingly intense when it drops down into the tunnel. It's always a minimum of 2 laps. However, a lot of the time you might get 3. If it's someone's birthday or an anniversary or special occasion, the operators can send it round as many times as you want to. When I used to work at the park, we had some staff nights and we actually went round about 16 times, which was incredible without it stopping. So literally it's a dial that they turn to operate it. It's not like a normal dispatch, so that really adds to it. It's fun, it's interactive, it's well themed, and I think it's a great family coaster, perfect to be in the 9th spot of this top 10. In 8th place, it is Rita. Now this is an Intamin accelerator coaster that opened back in 2005. At the time, the area was Ugland. It then had a bit of a transition into Ugland featuring Thunder Rock Rally, which was a bit of a weird crossover. And then of course 2010 came along and it got transformed into Dark Forest. But originally Rita was the Queen of Speed when it opened in 2005. That was the catchphrase that they went for it, the tagline. 0 to 61 miles per hour in 2.5 seconds. And you know what? It's a great launch. I do really enjoy it. At its time, it was actually a great ride to be really excited about. Of course, Intamin and other manufacturers come along and built some other great rides now, much better launch coasters than Rita. But I still think the launch holds up, especially if you're on the front for the view and getting that sheer acceleration, but especially down at the back where you really do feel the kick as well. Of course, it's got a bit rough and rattly in places over the years, but it's still not an uncomfortable ride, and the launch is good fun, hence why, yeah, I think it deserves to be in 8th place for me, Rita, at Alton Towers. Yeah, operating since 2005, has quite a few theme changes over the years, but yeah, it's still going. How long for? It'll be interesting to see. Obviously, the Intamin accelerator coasters are a bit of a dying breed now. We're not seeing them being built anymore. It's all LSM technology. So the day will probably come when Rita gets removed, but it's still operating at the moment, and I still think it's a good ride, even though it's not one of my ultimate favourites. Doesn't deserve to be like higher up in the list. In 8th place, it's a solid ride, Rita at Alton Towers. Right then, let's move into 7th place. Good fun coaster. It's Spinball Whizzer. This is a Mara spinning coaster that opened in 2004. And with this ride, it is just great fun from start to end. I actually think it's a really underrated ride at Alton Towers. So with this ride, obviously, you're sitting like 2 back to back, so you often get some really good spinning. If there's only 3 of you on there as well, you're in for even more of a spin if it's weighted on one side. There's more weight on one side than the other. You can get really flipping round, which is great. The first drop's really good. The horseshoe element, which is a fantastic element, especially if you're facing down towards the ground. But then also, it's quite good when you're looking up towards the sky as well. So I do like that. But for me, my favourite part of the ride is actually the final couple of moments. You got a really intense helix, and then you kind of drop up and round, and then a bank turn to the right that are actually really intense, and at the end you can still get spinning around quite a bit, which is good fun as you hit the brake run. But yeah, I do like Spinball. Was a great fun ride. It might not be themed very heavily, but what it does is just provide a good fun family coaster experience. In 6th place, we have got another dark ride, and this is the Curse at Alton Manor. Now, this is a Mack Rides dark ride that opened originally in 1992 as the Haunted House. It then later became Jewel, and then, of course, the latest version, the 3rd incarnation of this ride, opened in 2023, the Curse at Alton Manor. This is a beautiful dark ride with a fantastic backstory, all about Emily Alton and the house itself. The story is set on New Year's Eve, which is fantastic, and as soon as you go in, you've got the wonderful rolling pre-show with the little doll's house, the rooms on a slant, you got the little rocking horse, really sets the mode for the attraction. And then you head onto the ride itself, really nice ride system that moves around at quite a good pace. And what's fantastic about this, it's got so much theming and beautiful scenes in there. My favourite is probably the big kind of dining hall. I love that. The Tromble Tunnel's fantastic. Of course, you've got the clock at the end. And then later in the ride, you've got the ginormous spider, and then the whole garden area, which I absolutely adore. There's some really nice illusions in there. My favourite is when you come round, you've got the mirrors and you've got a ride vehicle with Emily sat in the other side. It's a great ride because it feels like a classic dark ride, but also it feels updated as well because you've got some projections and modern lighting, the audio, the smells. It all comes together in a really nice overall package for me. So the Curse at Alton Manor definitely had to be, in a really good spot in this list at 6th place. Brilliant attraction, very immersive, and for me, it's the best version of what's been in that building. I loved the original Haunted House, and then of course, Jewel was good fun, but not really very immersive. But I feel like this just takes it to the next level. I love the storyline, and yeah, I think it's an absolutely brilliant ride. Right then, down into 5th place, the halfway point, and this is 13. Now, this is an Intamin multi-dimension coaster that opened in 2010, and what I do love about this ride is how secretive it is. It's very hidden away, and even though it's been operating for a number of years now, the landscaping has just grown so much around there that it hides it. And there's a lot of people that still come to Alton Towers to this day. In fact, I was riding it with someone like towards the end of the season. I was in single rider, so I sat next to them, didn't know who they were, and they were amazed at the drop inside because they'd never seen anything about it before. They'd never seen a POV or any information about it. When it opened, it was really badly marketed at the time. Yes, it brought people in, so I guess you can say it did its job, but there was a lot of disappointment about the ride. It was built up to be the next big thrill coaster. People thought it was going to be on the level of Nemesis, Oblivion, but it wasn't. It was a family coaster, and that's what it does a good job of, an Intamin family coaster. And of course, it's only a 16-foot vertical drop track in there, but it feels very intense. It's got the air cannons above it, the theming's great. I just love that drop element, and then of course the backward section. The start of the ride's good fun, how it kind of goes round in the forest as well, little pops of airtime and turns. Wish there was a little bit more in the forest, but I still think it's a brilliant ride. And it's that surprise, that mystery element that again really fits with what Alton Towers is all about, and the backstories to the rides. And yeah, I just absolutely love that, how it kind of drops down and it's very mysterious. Nobody really knows what's happening. Great ride, beautifully themed, and in my opinion, it's one that just keeps getting better as the landscaping everything's grown over the years. It's also a capacity monster, often running 3 trains, getting people through, doing exactly what a good family coaster should do. Right then, down into 4th place now, and it is the Smiler. This is a Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster that's opened back in 2013 and is still a record holder. It opened with the most inversions anywhere in the world at 14 inversions, and still to this day, it holds that record, which is very impressive. No one else has come along and thought, we're going to beat the Smiler at Alton Towers, and it's certainly a big claim to fame for the park. Having the Smiler, and it's very famous around the world because it's got their most inversions. Everyone's heard about that ride, and yeah, it is a good ride, the Smiler. It's one of them that varies very much depending on the seats. If you're on the front row, I feel like you're in for an incredible ride experience, and I might put it a little bit higher up this list, but you can't actually always have a front row. There's no option for a front row queue. You can't really ask the staff and they'll put you at the side. If you are there at the right time, you'll get a front row. If you're on a row 3 or row 4, nowhere near as good of an experience in my opinion. But again, it might vary for you, so I'd love to know down below in the video comments. This Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster does come as 2 parts, or I would say 3 parts really. As soon as you dispatch, you go into the secret kind of tunnel with the first inversion, and that's before the initial lift hill, which I really like. Very hidden. And then of course you're into the first part of the ride, some excellent elements, then into the vertical lift hill, some other great turns and inversions, and actually my favourite comes in the second part of the ride. That is the Sea Serpent Roll. Big fan of that, just before you go into the other airtime hill. And that's the thing with the Smiler, you have got the 2 big airtime hills as well, which are both great fun. I wish there was a few more elements in between the big kind of stellar inversions, but it's still a great ride. To this day, if you ride it in the right row, it is a pretty smooth experience. It's intense, but it is quite smooth, other than the final kind of 3 inversions. As soon as you come out of that final kind of cobra roll, then yeah, it is getting a bit rougher, and your final couple of inversions, especially at the back. But down there at the front, it's a lot more bearable, and it's just a good fun ride. But I think that's for me why it belongs in 4th place, just because it varies so much depending on the seat on there. Right then, we're into the top 3 then now, and in 3rd place we're staying in X Sector and we're going with Oblivion. This is a Bolliger & Mabillard, also known as B&M, dive coaster. This opened in 1998 as the world's first vertical drop roller coaster. Big ride to put Alton Towers on the map. At the time, there was so much mystery because nobody really knew what was happening. You know, the internet didn't really exist like it does today, you know, and everybody speculated, and drones and all that kind of stuff. You know, it was very much like, nobody knew what was being built. It was a mystery. And then, yeah, literally it opened and everybody kind of looked at it and thought, that looks absolutely terrifying. I always remember my first ride on Oblivion being terrified. And I think everybody is when they ride that for the first time. It's actually a 180-foot drop. It might not look like it from when you look at it from kind of ground level, but what people don't realize is you look at that drop, it stays at that angle, and then doesn't start kind of petering out until it's underground. That drop goes way further down than people realise. It doesn't just kind of go like that. It really goes down so far into the tunnel at 180 foot from the top to the bottom. Amazing that a park like Alton Towers that's got so many restrictions could build a ride that drops 180 foot. Incredible. And of course the fact you drop into a tunnel really adds to it, especially with the mist on there. I love it to bits. Dropping down into the mist, face full of water, and it's just a great fun ride. I know it's short, I know it's a one-drop wonder, but I absolutely love it. And for me, the thrill and exhilaration of Oblivion still holds up to this day. I think it's one of the best dive coasters, if not the best, for the drop. It's just amazing. And I think the fact it helps as well, you've got the 2 rows instead of 3, you just feel that force a lot more, and yeah, back row you get that pop of airtime, which is great. But no, I love Oblivion. I still think it really holds up as an excellent ride. In 2nd place then for me in my top 10 Alton Towers rides is of course Wicker Man. Now this Great Coasters International wooden coaster opened back in 2018, and what's really good about this is the theming and overall experience. In terms of a GCI, there's better ones out there, but what I do love about this is the fact you've got that full package and it builds up the speed. Of course you've got that first drop, which is quite slow, but then it really builds you up. You drop down into the tunnel. Before you know it, you're on that kind of, that banked drop to the left before the Big Bob Wicker Man structure itself. And you've got some good speed there. You come up through the structure itself, you pass through it a few times, and you've got all the fire effects on there, the mist, and just the sound effects as well that really add to it. For many years, we all wanted a wooden roller coaster at Alton Towers, and this is certainly a brilliant ride. Down there at the back on row 12, you know, you're whipping around the layout. And I remember I always thought look back at when we saw that initial layout, and I did a video on the channel at the time, and we were like, you know, it looks good, but is it going to feel a bit short? Is it going to be a bit slow? It certainly doesn't. It feels like a good full ride. Of course, I wouldn't have complained if we'd had another couple of helixes, another maybe 1,000-foot of track or something would have been amazing. But still, what we got with Wicker Man is a brilliant ride, and just coming away from the coaster a minute, the atmosphere in the area is great. Of course, the pre-show is excellent as well and builds you up. The music, the smoke, the lighting, and at night, it takes it to another level. It really does. So I think as an overall experience, Wicker Man is a phenomenal ride. And yeah, been operating since 2018. Time's gone so fast. Still the newest coaster at Alton Towers until the Bluey coaster opens in 2026. Right then, on to my number one coaster at Alton Towers, my number one ride, and that is, of course, Nemesis Reborn. This is a Boulder & Mabillard B&M inverted coaster that opened originally back in 1994, but then was reimagined in 2024 as Nemesis Reborn. Of course, it was originally just Nemesis, and what a ride. Honestly, this coaster is just amazing. Designed by the legendary John Wardley himself, what makes this inverted coaster so special is the fact it is dug into a ginormous pit. You go up the lift hill, and then you're not even that far off the ground. But what you do then is drop to the left, building up the speed, and then you're not down into a loop first, you're into a corkscrew, which really makes it the first of 4 inversions. Then you've got my favourite part of the ride, which is that downward helix, which is ridiculously intense, up over the station into the 0G roll, another big stall turn, down into the loop, which is halfway into the layout, which is unheard of really for a big coaster like Nemesis. Amazing the fact that that was dug into the pit and is later on in the layout. And then of course, you know, you slow down a little bit, then it whips you into another final corkscrew before it's coming back round into the brake run. Nemesis is just an amazing ride. It's the full package theming wise as well. It always has been, but even more so after the 2024 revamp into Nemesis Reborn. They really added a lot more theming around, soundtrack, smoke effects. The station looks so much better on the inside. The outside took more of a kind of industrial look as well. It really made the monster feel like it had come alive. And I just think the ride is amazing from start to finish. It's beautifully designed. I love the queue line going all around the top now and looking down over the ride. And at night, once again, it makes it an even better ride experience. In my opinion, Nemesis is the number one ride at Alton Towers. But there you go, that's my top 10 rides at the park. I would love to know your list down below in the video comments. There's going to be lots of these top 10 videos coming up from a variety of different parks, and I want to keep them as interactive as possible. So I look forward, as always, to reading all of your comments down below, and especially your list, and seeing how it compares to mine. Thank you very much for joining us here on Theme Park Worldwide. If you did enjoy the video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. It really helps up the channel, and subscribe and turn them notifications on for lots of upcoming new videos. Thank you very much for watching, and that leaves me with one final thing to say. Get out there and keep on riding. See you in the next video.